Can you do that with your eyebrows? Up. It's hard for me to move one at once. A little too difficult right now. I'm going to keep trying. Anyway, reading. Reading, reading, reading. This time, look, I've added 2 letters to the start. Reading. It says reading here. Let's do this. Reading. Reading. But I have 2 letters at the beginning. R-E. That's a prefix. A prefix is letters that go at the beginning of a word to change the meaning. R-E, if you see R-E at the start of something, it usually means do something again. So reading, but reading again. Rereading is reading again. There we go. So rereading. Do you know this book? I've probably read this book 23 times, even more. I love to reread. And I've read this book probably 40 times. I love to reread. And today I wanted to talk about why rereading, reading the same book again and again, is such a good idea for us to help us become better readers, better thinkers. I'll show you something. So this is Kathy, my friend Kathy, who writes books for her job. She is an author and she loves to write books all about reading. She knows so much about teaching people to read. Kathy writes books about reading, and she says rereading is rethinking. So every time you read a book again, you have to think again. And she says that you can think in different ways every time you read a book. So let's look at what she means. She has this whole list. So look, rereading is rethinking. And she gives us some ideas of how to reread, how to read again. So imagine the same book. But the first time you read it, just because it's new and you want to know what it's about. The second time you could reread it, you could use a storyteller's voice. How would a storyteller read this book? Use different voices for different characters, maybe. Would use excited voices or scary voices, or scared little voices, or angry voices. Maybe you would reread using a storyteller's voice. Then you're thinking in a different way about the characters. Reread to notice something new. Now, if you're like me, the first time I read a book, I go a little bit fast. But if I read the book again and slow down, sometimes I notice things that I never noticed before. When I was rereading, I noticed this mouse here, which I'd never noticed before. So I started to notice different things every time I read a book. I reread to notice something new. There we go. That's what it says right here. Reread to be able to say, this book is about. So, if you reread a book, sometimes you want to be able to tell about it and make sure you understand it so you could tell somebody else. So, if you reread a book again, you might think, if I'm telling somebody about this book, what would I say? I'm going to reread it to understand what I would say. It's 3 ways of rereading already. Let's do some more. Reread to get ready for a talk. If you know you're going to be talking about this book with a partner, with your mom or dad, with your teacher, you might think, hey, I'm going to reread this book again so I can remember everything, so I can feel confident to talk about it, so I have some questions to ask about it. So you're thinking again in a different way. This time you're getting ready for a talk. This one I kind of like. Reread and pay close attention to the pictures. I know some people They go through a book the first time around and they just only look at words. This is Ollie. This is Gossie. This is Gertie. They are goslings. Gossie wears bright red boots. Gertie wears bright boots. Some people do that. And then they kind of think at the end of the book, I forgot to look at the pictures. I'm going to go back again and pay close attention to the pictures. And you might notice, and I didn't notice this the first time. There's a tiny worm on that page. I'd never seen that before, but I only noticed when I was rereading. So sometimes you notice details in the pictures you'd never seen. Next one, it says reread to figure something out. Do you ever do this? You read a book and then at the end of it you think, so what happened to the why did that happen? Or so where did they do you have questions at the end of a book? I do. Sometimes I reread it to try and figure it out. And when I reread it again, I know that I'm trying to figure out. So I read it a little bit differently. And I'm thinking differently. And then I can figure out, after I reread it, I knew that's what they were trying to do. That's where they were going. Okay, now I get it. We got two more ideas here to reread. Reread to get ideas about something, and reread to act out the story. Some people love to act out the story. When they're rereading, if they're like Ollie the Stomper, they're stomp, 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 stomp. Or if they're Ollie the Stomper, they are, let me find another one. They're putting their boots on and they're marching together. And then sometimes they jump like Ollie might jump. So they do the things to make connections in their brain. They act out the story like they're actors. To get ideas about something. Do you know? I do that a lot when I'm thinking of writing. I sometimes look at my mentor books, my mentor authors, and I think, what could I do the same as Olivier did to get ideas? And I look at Matt's book and I think of ideas to get from Matt's book. And all my other books, I sometimes look at them and think, what can I do like them to get ideas for my own writing? So there we are. We had, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ways to reread a book. 8 ways to think differently about a book. So next time you think you've read a book and you're finished with it, try rereading it in a different way. And then you're rethinking in a different way. Have a great time rereading your books, and we will see you soon.